Okay, I have the EasySMX 84H-3, the 84H-3 GPS Navigator for your car. I'm going to tell you a little bit about its specs, and then I'm going to tell you what comes included in the box. Then at the end, just before I finish up, I'll show it to you. I'll show you it turned on. I'll show you its menus. Then I'll tell you at the end what I think of it and if I recommend it or not. Okay, so it's a 7-inch screen, which is the size of quite a lot of tablets. It's a 7-inch LCD touchscreen with a resolution of 800 by 480. It does have a mount provided for the car to mount it to your window or whatever on the inside, so that's good. And it comes with a few other bits and bobs. I'll tell you about that in a sec. It does operate as a basic video and audio player. So as well as having this as your GPS for, say, finding your way around a new city or whatever, you can actually use other functions on it, such as if you stopped up somewhere and you want to play a bit of a video or some music or whatever, you can. It won't support all of the latest formats or all the really high resolutions and stuff like that, of course, but it does have a basic video and audio player. It also has a calculator function, which could be handy if you need it quickly. You can also use it as a photo viewer if you've got any photos on there or want to check some photos you've taken. And you can use it as a basic e-reader that won't support lots of formats such as PDF, but it does support .txt text documents. It uses a MediaTek MS2531 CPU with 120 megabytes of dynamic RAM and 8 gigabytes of ROM. It has a rechargeable 1500 milliamp battery, but if your battery gets low, it does include a car charger to plug it in so you can keep using it if you need to. It runs, even though this is quite an affordable budget GPS, it doesn't include some sort of a very basic stock Chinese brand system or whatever. It actually runs Windows CE 6.0 operating system. So it doesn't just use some really cheap, quickly made Chinese brand or whatever operating system. It doesn't use some sort of stock version of Linux that they've downloaded and basically put on it. It does actually use a licensed copy of Windows CE 6.0, which is quite good, especially for a product in this sort of price range. You know, it's a lot used as basically a cheap Linux they've quickly downloaded somewhere. They don't have to pay any royalties, things like that. But this is a affordable GPS that actually runs Windows CE. It has a built-in foldable antenna that will unfold and fold back in. If you want to plug in some basic headphones to this to listen to some audio, like an audio book, some music or whatever, it does have a 3.5mm audio jack to plug in any headphones with 3.5mm plug. It doesn't use Bluetooth, so if you want to, say, pair something, a music player, whatever with it, you won't be able to. It doesn't have Bluetooth. It supports Windows XP or higher for data, so you can use your Windows XP or higher computer to push data to it. You don't have to have Windows XP for charging it, things like that, but it supports Windows for sending data to it. I haven't tried Mac, and they don't say anything about Mac, so you just have to take it as being for Windows at the moment. So micro SD cards, as a micro SD card slot for micro SD cards up to 32 gigabytes. And that is on the side next to the USB charging port. Included in the box is, of course, this main unit, the GPS Navigator. A car charger, so if you're getting low on battery, you can just plug it into your car. You don't have to worry about not being able to use it in the middle of some sort of travelling somewhere and find that you can't use it or anything like that. You can plug it into the car with an included car charger. It even includes a USB cable. It has a back splint and suction mounting bracket to mount it into your car. And it has an English user manual. The actual product itself, the interface, does support multiple languages, but the user manual, the printed user manual, is English. In the UK, it costs about £35, £34.99, with a recommended retail price of about £110. In the US, it costs about $63 or $62.99, with a recommended retail price of about $130. Now here is the two pieces for mounting it. There's the suction cup, and there's the other piece there. And there is the car charger. So as you can see, this big end goes into what you might call the cigarette lighter slot, and then it just plugs into the other end to the USB port on the actual device. Now I'll show how well you can see, but there's a little hole here, and there's a little hole there, and here is a little stylus that you can tuck back in or use if you want, and it goes just back in out of the way neatly. Now on the side here you have a USB port for charging, you have a micro SD card slot, then the headphone 3.5mm audio jack. I'm not sure how well you can see this because on this little small screen it's hard to get the angle right, but here it is a touch screen. We have navigation here, music, video, photos, favourites, game, flash, ebook reader, calculator, a unit converter even there, and an FM radio, language selection there, navigation, music, and desk is over here, times up here, a battery indicator in the top right to show you how much charge you have left. I'm not going to go into every single option here, I don't think it's necessary. This is more of a review than a whole full tutorial, but I'll just show you the interface here a little bit. There's navigator, I go my way. It'll take a second to load. You have show map here. There is a map. You can find a place.
Turn left.
There you see. We can show map to see it bigger. Power down here. We have find and my route and more. I'm not going to show you all the options, but basically this is how you put in your route, where you want to go. Then you can open it bigger here and just watch it, just like just like any typical GPS. Now let's press down here. Are you sure you want to quit the program? You hit exit and that will dump back out to the main screen. So that is the main thing, that's the most important bit. That is how you get to actually use this for travelling, which is the primary purpose of a GPS for your car, is for finding routes and showing where you're going. And directions, well, that is how you get to it from the top left here. The rest is really, let's face it, extras, but it's nice extras to have, such as a calculator if you need it quickly, or audio conversion, unit conversion right there. Then you even have some games there, photo viewer. Now, I'm not sure if you saw, I pressed this little dot here. There's a little black dot there. You press that and it'll go to the first list of icons. You press the black dot underneath and it'll switch over to the next list. From here we have volume to adjust the volume, backlight to adjust the backlighting, reset the factory defaults, calibrate, so you can calibrate it from there, NaviPath, GPS info, your date and time to set your date and time up from there, system info, USB, and WinCE option from there. Now from NaviPath you can select auto run GPS when you start up, so you can just slide that over, then it's turned on. We can hit back. GPS info. You go to GPS info and it shows you latitude, longitude, altitude, speed, and the UTC here, which is basically your time and date. You can reset the GPS from here, which is quite important. If you get any problems with the GPS, such as showing wrong location, which is something my Android phone does quite a lot. For some reason I'm in London and my phone keeps saying I'm in Leeds every so often, which is up quite far away. Well, if you get anything like this, with this, which I haven't so far, but if you do, you can come in here and hit reset. Then you can hit back from up here. And if you hit WinCE, you actually get a full Windows desktop from there as well. Not something I think you'd need very often, but it's there with Internet Explorer, everything from there, and you can hit things like Word Viewer, hit from there, double tap it, and there you go. Not something I'd recommend doing very often. It's very small icons because it's not really the primary purpose, but it is there if you need it. As I've mentioned, there is an included stylus, so if you find any of these buttons are hard to press with your fingers, although they shouldn't be, I think all the buttons, all the icons are plenty big enough to press on without any problem. But if you need to, there is this included stylus. Now, as you saw, I rebooted, and because in that GPS nav path option, we selected to turn it on to auto start up, when we booted up, it went straight into this navigation mode for getting directions, which is something I think you might want to do. You might want to turn it on because you're primarily going to be using this for navigation and directions. But if not, you can always turn it off or not turn it on to begin with. So yeah, that is basically what NaviPath does. You put it on auto, and then every time you turn this on, it goes straight into navigation mode, which I think is very, very, very handy. If you then say you're taking a break and you want to listen to some music, there's a music option there, and desk. And as you see, desk slides the icons closed and open. There you go, so you can move them out of the way if you don't want them. And as I said, we have music here. There is nothing really on it at the moment. We have, as I'm sure you've seen, a green LED light here to indicate that the power is on. Okay, so what do I think of it? Well, it's a nice budget GPS. Yes, you can get some really expensive ones like TomTom and stuff for a lot more money, but you're not necessarily going to want to pay an absolute fortune for a GPS. You might just want a decent GPS that doesn't cost too much money because you don't already have one, or maybe one broke and you need to replace it quickly, whatever. This is a nice option here because it's nice and affordable. It's not £100, £200, whatever. He's about £35 or about $62, $63 in the US. But he isn't some really cheap little thing that's hardly usable. His screen is nice and responsive. It uses Windows CE, so it actually uses Windows CE, not just some stock little system they've created themselves. It uses Windows CE, very responsive touchscreen, and it does pick up well. The GPS picks up very well because I've had some GPS products such as smartphones that when you're indoors, it just doesn't pick up the GPS. It really struggles to get a signal. This one even picks up indoors in the middle, in the corner of my kitchen, whatever. Even if I'm in the corner of the kitchen, it actually does pick up the GPS signal. Whereas I've had smartphones with GPS that struggle to get a signal from inside my house. So this actually does pick up well. It gets a good signal and it works, and it's nice and affordable and budget. So I do actually recommend you check it out and maybe consider buying it. So it's the EasySMX 84H-3 or 84H-3, and a link will be in the description along with this video on YouTube to its product page on Amazon. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and if you could do me a huge favour and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as it just takes a few seconds and will help me out a lot. Also, if you could do me a favour, and if you're watching this on Amazon, if you could hit the useful or helpful button along with this review, that will help me out a lot too. Thanks for watching.